Finally, Nigeria's Central Bank Chief Emefiele appears before Reps Committee over currency redesign. Nigeria's Election Commission INEC to conduct mock accreditation with BVAS in Delta. No government can solve all problems, says President Buhari. Also tonight on Politics HQ, Pope arrives DR Congo on beautiful trip to Africa. Suspected terrorists killed 28 in troubled Burkina Faso. I'm Sulaiman Aledeh. Tonight I'll be speaking with Felix Morka, who's the National Publicity Secretary, All Progressives Congress, and Frederick Wabufo, a journalist and columnist, will be speaking about developments in the APC and pretty much later about happenings in Nigeria. Join us again. Well, as the elections draw nearer, there is a growing perception of the candidates, their ambitions, and what they stand for. One of the foremost candidates in the election is the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu. Tinubu and the rest of the APC have been touring Nigeria on a campaign, trying to convince the populace about their quality and chances ahead of the election. With issues like fuel scarcity and the Naira situation biting harder every day, Nigerians have been reacting. Recent accusations made by the ruling party's candidate suggesting suspected sabotage by his party members may have shown that developments in the party hold for an interesting conversation and even more exciting days ahead. Now, with the G5 governor's future also up in the air, and their loyalty expected to be announced in the coming days, these developments and more will be my focus today as I host the spokesperson and National Publicity Secretary of the APC, Felix Morka. Felix, good to see you and thanks for your time as always. Now, a whole lot is happening. We see you all around the country, but Nigerians are asking questions. Is your party ready to win this election, going by the attendant suffering the people are going through? Fuel scarcity, inability to get money from the POS or ATM points, they say is all on the plate of the APC.
Thank you so much, Sulaiman, for having me. Yes, we are very ready to compete and win the upcoming election next month. There's no question. As you noted, we have been very busy crisscrossing the country, giving Nigerians all the reasons why they should support our party and our candidates, not just our presidential candidate, but also, from the top to the bottom of our ticket. Now, there's no question that, we all are, living through this very serious difficulty with both the, fuel situation and the availability of the new Naira. I mean, that's a national concern without question. But look, let me just say quickly before I go further that this government has been in place for nearly 8 years, and I think that this is really the first time we're seeing this sort of protracted fuel scarcity in the country. And as many have speculated, it's hard to understand why this is coming just days before the election. So clearly, those who think that there might be some fifth columnists or people who are, trying to manipulate this situation to the advantage, to some political advantage, may not be very far from the real deal. So we are all very concerned and hoping that this will, hopefully resolve in the coming days ahead of the elections. And same for the Naira. I think that, we all are very concerned. We are Nigerians, we're all affected by this. We all have turned in our, whatever cash we have and hoping that we're going to get the new currency, which is, so far not available the way it ought to be. So we are hoping that the CBN will expeditiously attend to this matter, do what it needs to do to get this new currency in wide circulation so that people can go about their businesses and live their normal lives with minimal disruptions.
Well, the governor, Emefiele, just left the hallowed chamber of the National Assembly where he met with the House of Representatives and Well, just before that, your candidate spoke about the need for an extension, which the people already have. But are you excited about the number of days added to it, or would you have wanted more?
Look, I think we needed the number of days that is necessary to resolve this problem sustainably. We don't need patchwork. I think that if in the assessment of the CBN, 10 days is good enough to resolve this, to push all of the new nodes into circulation, then 10 days is fine. But I think that our position and our concern is that this matter needs to be resolved and resolved really quickly. Whether it takes 10 days or takes more days than that, I think that CBN must do what is necessary to put this behind us.
Well, the president is the leader of the party, and everybody's president, whether you are a member of the PDP or the APC, he's our president. And the news about the president's visit in Kano cannot get off without us bringing this before you. He's a member of your party, he's the leader of the party. And perhaps let's get a sense of the headlines we saw in the papers now that you're here. What truly transpired in Kano when the president visited?
The president's visit was spectacular. He had a good visit, and he had, so many important engagements, massive projects, including the cancer center to commission. And he did that, and it went very well. Now, what you're seeing in some reports is simply an attempt by the opposition, especially the People's Democratic Party, to instigate and make it look like something happened in Kano that was worth the headlines. The PDP itself is teetering on the verge of treasonable felony. Because if you listen to the statement put out by that party, just, I think it was yesterday or so, it was nothing short of a confessional statement, of a conspiracy to commit, treasonable acts. Because they speak to facts which are not within anyone's, understanding. Only, facts that are within their own understanding, their own appreciation, with, a high level of authority, suggesting their participation and involvement in, really orchestrating, some of the fringe, social deviant behavior we've seen in Kano and in a couple of other places. So I think that it's time for the law enforcement authorities to actually call in the officials of the PDP to interrogate them about what they know about this. Because, look, our party, the APC, and the PDP, and all of the other parties, we all are signatories to the Peace Pact. At this stage in the game, we expect some level of decorum, some level of maturity, so that we don't create opportunities for those who seek to undermine our elections, to actually, have a field day. But that's exactly what the PDP is doing. They're simply inciting these street urchins, anywhere the APC is, pulling off an event, to put up a sideshow and then create the optics as though there's something untoward going on. There is nothing that happened in Kano besides what the PDP attempted to instigate, which is what we are hoping. In fact, this evening I authorized, a press statement in which we are calling on the law enforcement authorities to actually begin immediately to review the PDP for possible conspiracy to commit treasonable acts.
Well, Felix, the big news just before we got on the show is about INEC that is now ready to conduct a mock accreditation exercise with using BVAS in a state you're very familiar with, Delta State. And some close watchers are already asking why Delta. Perhaps they should have, INEC should have used any of the states that don't have a candidate that will be on the ballot. Now, perhaps your party hasn't actually given any, reaction to that particular action from INEC. What's your expectation about BVAS mock accreditation exercise in Delta State?
Well, the exercise generally, I think, seeks to familiarize, voters with the operation of beavers, how it works, what to expect, the red flags, for example, if things go wrong, what you should do as a voter. I think it's a good way to begin the season of our voting. Now, the choice of Delta, I'm not exactly sure why Delta was picked. Delta is my state. Ordinarily, I'll be very excited to see this show put up in my state. But like you said, this is just breaking, and we're yet to, completely have a 360 perspective of the choice of Delta, particularly for this mock exercise. But I think that on the whole, I think we're very pleased that INEC is at least being proactive to launch into the season by this sort of demonstration so that people have more confidence and know better what to expect when they get to the polls.
Now, still on INEC, and the chairman was at Chatham House where he spoke, and people have been reacting to what he said about the young Nigerians who make a better percentage of those that will be voting in this election. One wonders if your youth wing of the APC falls within that catchment, and how much of force are you likely to get out of that in this coming election?
No, our youth wing is, easily the most vibrant youth wings of any political party in the country today. Our youth leader, Dio Israel, is, pulsating with energy, and he's been crisscrossing the country, really speaking to youth, mobilizing our young people, and getting them interested to not just, vote for our party, but, generally to I think embrace this, understanding of the power that they have as citizens to, help to make and reinvent our democracy. So yes, our youth wing is, very active, and it's doing exceptionally well in their outreach to our young people. And, in the elections, we're expecting our young people, young Nigerians, to turn out massively in support of our candidate. Because, quite frankly, comparing the APC presidential candidate with the other candidates, it's almost like a joke, because we have a vibrant, visionary candidate in the person of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who has, I think, led by example. He has been there, done that. He took Lagos State and did exceptionally well, turned Lagos around and set Lagos on a path of sustainable growth. Now, I think that, if you look at the other candidates, I can't say that for the candidate of the PDP, for example, who has come to this ticket with nothing but utter, controversy, complete disregard for the unity of, his own party and the unity of Nigeria. So I think that, honestly, I expect that Nigerians, and I hope that next month, people will go out there to speak with their PVC and vote massively for our candidates from the top to the bottom of our tickets.
When you talk about young Nigerians, it gets almost louder when people look towards your other contestant, Peter Obi, and that is why I asked the question how boisterous, how effective your youth wing is in comparison to what the obedient movement are putting forward towards this election.
No, we are good and we're solid. Look, our party, we're a party of over 40 million people. And of this population of members of our party, a huge section of that party is, consists of youth, young, men, young women who are very energetic and very enthusiastic about their membership and support of our party and our candidates. Now, Peter Obi has, his party and has his own range of organizing. But, trust me, we are, ready to have our youths come out, pour out during the next elections and actually vote. So we are not concerned about whatever is going on with, Peter Obi and his Labour Party. We are concerned about what is going on in APC and, continue our effort to give our young people all the reason they need to, come in and help to show up, I think, the future that they have, in this country.
Is this safe to say you have 40 million members? Because we've seen quite a few people leave your party. Najatu Mohammed has been speaking. She was once with you and she's left. And she's been saying all sorts of things about your candidate and your party.
Look, during any and every political season, you expect people to move around. I mean, that's normal, especially in our political system. In the advanced democracies, you may not have a whole lot of that. But in our own system, this is the norm. People move in and they move out. Yes, as people leave our party, those who choose to leave for whatever reason, others come into our party. But I think that on record, we have more people actually coming into our party than we have leaving our party. And I think that speaks to, I think, the seriousness of our mission and our manifesto and the promise that our candidates bring to the electorate. Now, as for those who leave and who think that by going out to look, some people come into a political party or system for their own reasons. I am not going to speculate as to why she came along in APC, but obviously she's been very unguarded, and clearly from everything she said, from her disposition, and from the vow with which she's spoken, it's obvious she was in this party for that purpose. She came in to actually achieve the result that you're asking about. She came in to disrupt, create this appearance of a mess, and then carry her mess with her and make her exit. So we're not concerned about what she's saying, because she's not speaking the truth. She knows better than she's saying. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is fit, strong, and proper, physically, mentally able to lead this country in the next dispensation. That's for sure.
So now let's go to the message your party is taking around the country, and specifically in the last few days, you've been around southern Nigeria. You were in Edo State. You were also in Akwa Ibom State. These are PDP states, and people are wondering, what are you selling to the people of those states that will make them want to cast their ballot for you?
Look, as far as we're concerned, we don't have PDP states or any states. We are coming into this election and making no assumptions. We're looking at the country as one massive body of electorate, of voters. And we're going out, seriously to convince the last voter to support our party, whether it's in Akwa Ibom or in Cross River or in Delta or in Edo State or any state for that matter. We are appealing to Nigerians and giving them reasons to support us. So we're not, bound by any strictures of party, those who claim to own a state. I don't think they do. Every voter has a right to make a choice, and we're asking those voters to choose our presidential candidate and all of our candidates. And so, yes, we are, very active. As you know, we are waging perhaps the most vibrant campaign ever in the history of this country. And, we have our competition basically, trailing behind. They're simply just waiting for manners to come. The PDP itself just specializes in telling lies and promoting falsehood, fabricating stories, inciting Nigerians. But that's not going to cut it. Nigerians are smarter, they're wiser, they're more mature than the PDP will have them believe. And we're hopeful that they will listen loud and clear to the message we've been taking around, the message of renewed hope that our candidates have been, taking around this country, and that will earn us, that whole privilege to govern this country again, come next month.
And security is another big issue leading up to this election. And just before you appeared in Southeast, a local government chairman was gruesomely murdered in cold blood. How does this worry your party, knowing full well that in some parts of the country, the people are still very much unsafe?
Look, first of all, my heart and my thoughts, go out to the family of that individual who was brutally killed. That was just tragic and shouldn't happen at all. So we condemn that act and condemn, all other acts of violence that are unleashed against, our people. I mean, these are law-abiding, good Nigerians who really have no business getting victimized by this sort of evil. But unfortunately, we live in a modern day and in a world where good and evil are often in close competition. And our hope is that, good will always prevail. Now, I think that we all are concerned and hoping that our law enforcement, agencies will rein in these, acts, whether it's acts of terror or banditry or this sort of, egregious, mindless murder of our citizens. So our party and the government under the, president is committed, remains committed to doing everything that is, necessary to actually, promote the peace and keep our people safe. Now, that already we have won a lot of margin in the war against terror, in the war against, bandits. Our military, has been relentless in their pursuit of these, outlaws who choose to do harm to our people. And we hope that, we will have our elections and have it under, peaceful, safe, atmosphere, so our people can actually go out and vote without any sort of fear or restraint to choose the candidates of their choice. And I surely hope that as they do so, they also choose our candidates and to support them by their votes next month.
Well, speaking of which, the other is just 25 days to the big day, to the election, and simultaneously we'll be voting for the presidential and National Assembly elections. Your party, the APC, has had some form of town hall meetings with a wide section of Nigerians, and the very last big one was with the NBA. And the lawyers are still speaking. You're very familiar with these. They're still not excited that your candidate didn't make his presence on the day.
Say that again, I didn't get that.
Your candidate was absent on the day, and the lawyers and Nigerians are not too excited about that.
Look, we have had ample platforms to speak to a wide range of issues. I mean, our candidates have been all over the place, meeting with business leaders, private sector leaders, thematic issues and groups, trying to clarify our party's position and our manifesto. I think by now, any citizen who really is desirous of learning more about our position on, critical national questions should by now have some information available. Unfortunately, our candidate, like other candidates, are unable to be everywhere that they are required to be, or where people would like them to be. I'm sure that if they had the opportunity, Asuwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu will, touch every platform and respond to every question that is put to him. That is, his disposition. But of course, this is, a campaign season where he's required to be in so many places equally important. I mean, this is not saying that one is more important than the other. All of them are important. But he cannot possibly be everywhere at the same time. So I simply would just hope that people will understand that his absence sometimes at whatever forum is not a statement of his own kind of disposition towards that platform, or a statement of his rating of whether or not they're important. I think that every Nigerian, as long as the Nigerians and their voters, they're important. They're the ones who will hire the next commander-in-chief of the armed forces of this country. So, no one takes them for granted. No one takes the NBA or any other professional group for granted. I think that, I hope that with time, they will, come around to understanding that this is not out of a desire to be exclusive, but just that, sometimes it's hard to be everywhere. I've been involved in this. You have no idea the kind of energy this, requires to crisscross, different meetings, different platforms, different programs, but it's the nature of the effort. So I think that I just appeal to my colleagues at the bar to tarry and to hopefully garner all the information they require from all the available sources that were put out there in the public space.
Let's see if we can close on this, Felix Morka. You've been going around the country. Perhaps let's look at it region by region. If you can just sum this up in the next 2 minutes. What are the demands? What are the concerns, the key concerns of the Nigerian people, irrespective of your party being the ruling party? What are they saying to you as you go out campaigning for their votes?
That's really simple. Nigerians just want the good life. They just want the opportunity to wake up in the morning, have that promise that, by dusk, they would have had dinner. Have some breakfast in the morning, eat dinner, and be able to have that hope that tomorrow will come and that they will also go through tomorrow as they should, as citizens of any country are entitled to expect. And the government, of course, has a duty to provide, to create all of the enablement that allows citizens to flourish, to seek the good life, and to actually, earn decent living. And I think that's the struggle for every government around the world, not just in our own country, but, even in the advanced democracies, they struggle with. I mean, everyone is dealing with, hyperinflation from the richest to the poorest of, countries around the world. This is global to a degree, but, again, that's not an excuse that we shouldn't have the very best in the country. And I think that's the aspiration. This government has laid an effective groundwork for, the next administration to continue. And I think it goes against the backdrop of 16 years of utter ruin by the PDP, which is why, some of us as citizens, we just, say never again to the PDP. I mean, to have that party return to power would be, a double whammy. I think that no Nigerian who really lived through the era of 16 years of, profligate waste of our, national resources will, even entertain the prospect of a return to, governance by that party. But I think that Nigerians expect anyone, ultimately, expect Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as president to really tackle their priorities, to make their own priorities state policy, make it the business of government. After all, our constitution says that the welfare and the well-being of the people is ultimately the whole essence of government.
Well, still on what the people want, and the final one here, the conversations about the G5 governors, you've been to the regions of some of these governors. Haven't you met with some politicians who are asking if you're making some kind of overture to any of them?
Well, these are chief executives of their state and who, have enormous, goodwill in their states and hopefully some measure of influence. I think that, we're hoping that they will do the right thing. And because already, I mean, the candidate of the PDP has, completely torn that party to shreds by his very selfish, obsessive quest for power. So he's left the, G5 governors with very little option than to actually, do what is right by Nigerians, to call out that, aspirant, the candidate of the party, and the party leadership of the PDP, and to urge Nigerians to actually reject the candidate of the PDP. And that's, I think, is everything they've said, the body language, that's what they've said. And I think that, our hope is that they stand by that, because that is the ultimate service they can do to our country at this time in our political history.
Felix Morka, many thanks for speaking with us tonight on Politics HQ.
Thank you. Thank you so much.